This is a podcast or something like that. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Yeah, no, I'm going to start. No pictures, please. I'm going to start the podcast. Thank you. How you doing? Hey, welcome to the Verbal Journal podcast. I know, things a little bit different. I'm looking a little bit cooler. Things have changed. Things have changed. You might be used to a different kind of show here, but, look at what happened last week. We got the most views. It's unconscionable. I'm famous. Like, we've gotten, look at that, 1.2 thousand views, 5 times more than the previous one. And let me tell you, we got 800 views in the first, day, Donna? Damn it. Donna, how many views was that? I get to boss Donna around now. My producer's like kind of deferential to me now. It's pretty cool. Because I'm famous. Because I'm famous now. They didn't think I would make it. They said, you are the talent, but you don't have talent. And I'm like, that's not ridiculous. That is ridiculous. The last episode broke 800 views in the first 24 hours. I believe I might have mentioned that. 800 views in the first 24 hours. Also, YouTube notified me that the channel just hit two milestones. Hot on the heels of reaching 100 subscribers, and now 115. We hit 3,000 total views on the channel and 500 hours of watch time. That's a lot of data. Maybe we could just say, hey, things are going well on the podcast, not kind of get bogged down in the things are going kind of well is all I mean to say on that front. With the podcast, things are going well. Go back to the just me for this one. Unfortunately, the election didn't go the way we had wanted here at the VJP. We endorsed the campaign of Harris, the Democratic candidate. And we endorsed Harris because we thought that she would be a better candidate. We also thought that we would maybe get some special privileges in her administration. We thought maybe the podcasting legislation would be a little bit more conducive to long-term flourishing. So yeah, unfortunately that happened, and the election went that way. So, we're going to have 4 more years of this guy. The Republicans are going to be in power, and they have the Supreme Court, and they have the Senate, and I don't know whether they have the House right now. I haven't followed up. I've been sort of just not paying a lot of attention since election happened. Because I guess I just feel like it's going to take up so much of my mind, and I'm procrastinating paying attention to it, or I'm avoiding it, I guess is the technical term for it. It's a big bummer because if you're on the left, Harris is obviously not a left-wing candidate, but if you're on the left, it's like Harris is like the enemy you want to be battling compared to the Republicans. The Democrats at least seem a little bit more pliable to, the Democratic Party has people in it that are somewhat anti-capitalist and democratic socialist, as far as the country goes. But I don't know what else to say about that. It did inspire me to actually make a main channel video for the first time in a year and a half. Where is it? It's here. Thoughts on the U.S. election. And at first it was on the main page. It was like here, I put it here, and then I made it less prominent so people kind of look for it. Because I don't know, it's just so different than my other videos. But I'm glad I did it. I obviously didn't do it for the views or anything or for the money. I'm glad I did it because it's like mainly I just I don't want it to be such a big deal to make a video on my YouTube channel. I know that it's not that big of a deal, and so I'm glad to just have done it and treat it like the non-big deal that it is. It's a little bit inspired me to get back into working on some other videos. So that's good. Thought I would talk a little bit about the process of moderating it. I dropped the video at 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. on election night, so that was not ideal because I had to go to sleep. But I also wanted to moderate the comments, which I did, so I just didn't get the best sleep. I woke up and just moderated the comments every few hours. It's not fun doing that. That's definitely not fun. It takes the fun out of it to do that. But if I don't do that, the comments are just full of people arguing and being kind of obnoxious a little bit. I got a lot of comments from subscribers. Hey, I'm happy. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate your thoughts. And that's what I was doing it for. I wasn't doing it for Trump supporters to try to convince them of anything. And I don't consider, I don't need to know that there are Trump supporters in the world. I know that already. So when someone comments, Trump 2024, I'm thinking, that's not the type of comment that I'm going to leave up here. So, I left up critical comments. Some critical comments just misunderstand, of course, but I leave up critical comments. It's just if they feel, well, on the one hand, if they're personal, obviously I delete them, but then I just deleted some that were supportive of Trump winning, which, you can comment on my Breaking Bad video and talk about how you like Trump, but this was sort of my space to talk about how I didn't want him to be the president. So I'm not soliciting opinions from strangers on the internet about whether they support Trump, and it's not important to me to leave people's comments up that are supportive of Trump. So things that were invalidating, basically. It's one thing for someone to be like, oh, I think you are downplaying how bad of a candidate Harris was. I guess they, comment before I got to that part in the video or something. It's one thing for that. It's another for someone to, obviously, people who are cry more, soy boy. It's okay, that's obviously doesn't qualify, doesn't make the cut. But, then people who are I'm not mad at all. Over half the country is happy at this result. It's that's invalidating. I don't care. The bottom line is I don't create videos necessarily to stimulate conversation, but if I do, it's certainly not to stimulate conversation with me, and it's certainly not to stimulate dissenting conversation to what I'm saying. There's a lot of places on the internet you can do that. So, I know there are people who are don't, you shouldn't delete comments, and some of them I just deleted. Other ones I hid the person from the channel forever. If someone commented pro-Trump, I hid them forever from the channel. I have no need to stay up to date with their opinions. They can create a new Google account and comment again if they want to. That's the thing you have to understand if you're a creator. People can create a new account very, very quickly. You're not really stifling their free speech. You're just using the power you have. And then the problem is you have to do that quickly. You have to make those decisions very quickly. You don't want to agonize about them. I don't read the whole comment. As soon as I see where it's going, I'm done. Hid from the channel forever. Goodbye. I don't care. I don't need you. So that's where I come from on it, and I recommend content creators do that. I know there are probably some content creators that don't do that, let people say whatever they want. I personally, quite simply, I do it because I consider the comments part of the product that I'm providing for people. I really do. in this day and age, people are reading the comments on videos. Often as they're watching the video slash before they watch the whole video. And I think it's extremely justified to say, I don't want someone to come to the video, start enjoying what I'm saying, and then start either getting involved or seeing arguments in the comment section. I'm not interested in it. I have a lot of different metaphors in my mind about this. You know, if I hang up a painting at a gallery, do I want people to stand there and discuss it? Yeah. Do I want people to stand there and argue and make personal attacks about me or each other? No. Do I want people with dissenting political opinions to have their voice be loud and clear? No. Not dissenting to me, at least. No, I don't want the louder and more clear, more obvious voices to be ones that I disagree with, because then they're contravening my purpose with the video. My purpose of the video is not to, I'm not interested in engaging in a dialogue with supporters of the Republican establishment. That's just not the point of my video, and I'm not interested in it. So I deleted, I'd say 40 comments if I had to guess. Probably 30 of those I hid the people from the channel. I don't need to hide someone if they're just being like a little bit annoying. I'll just delete the comment. There are times when I just wanted a conversation to stop, so I deleted one of the comments so people would just stop discussing something. There's there's all kinds of annoying conversations people get into. One of the things I really dislike is when someone, like a centrist or something, is like just asking questions, and it's like, just ask them to the Google search bar. Really, I know that's like a trope that left-wing people are like, just look it up, and we should do more educating. Sure, of course. And there are places for that all throughout your life to discuss things with people. I don't necessarily feel like a comment section is always the place to do it, because I don't think people have their minds changed in the comment section. But I don't know. Maybe they do sometimes, but so I did that. Because I wanted the space to be somewhat pleasant. I wanted people to be able, let's look at the comments, I guess, while we're talking about it.
Hey.
Hey. Hold on. Okay, sorry, okay, so yeah, you can see some comments here. People are saying, oh, yeah, but people are saying, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Supportive comments. There's going to be some comments that are not supportive, and that's cool. Let's look at the new ones. Got a thank you. Good to see you, man. Spot on. Somehow dumb, still not learning to listen. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is so funny. I find this so funny. People do this sometimes where they literally use quotation marks and then they misquote what you say. And it's like, you're watching a video. You could pause it and replay it very easily. I said liberal media sits on the fence. Okay? I said liberal media sits on the fence in regards to fascism, not in regards to whether or not they like Trump. And also, there is no such. There is left media, but I said liberal media, and then this person writing a screed. Okay, that's not that much of a screed, but and it's like people who like pretend they disagree with you, but they're not disagreeing with anything you said. I'm more conservative, and I don't understand how Trump is anywhere near a fascist. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting us know. So, I just like, this is, I'll let some people, say what they want. None of it really matters so long as spiritual growth is possible. When is spiritual growth not possible? That's like the worst type of spirituality, when you just detach yourself from politics. I'm apolitical. I like Teal Swan because I'm more about getting in touch with my soul rather than helping the workers in my community. It's like, oh, okay, cool, man. So anyways, oh, y'all really are taking this too seriously. So true, bro. And then someone says like, You're very privileged to say that. And then they're like, you made assumptions without confirming. Lol, you didn't even confirm. Okay. Whatever. I don't need to delete every comment. This is funny. I knew you were hot. And then they followed up and said something about my lisp. So I deleted their follow up and kept their first comment calling me hot. Because I don't, sometimes I'll let people comment on my lisp, but that's kind of inappropriate. I don't really. Again, it's like on principle. That's just inappropriate. Have some class, people. So, anyways, what else? So subscribers, I actually lost a fair number of subscribers. So I released the video and I lost, I guess these are all part of the same thing. So I lost like 150 subscribers, which I could not care less about at all. Do not care at all. I mean, if I started losing like thousands of subscribers a day, or if this continued for weeks, then I'd be like, oh, damn, that really sucks. You know what I mean? Like if my channel actually like got smaller, that would be really bad. I'd be like, not that I even care that much, but it's like, you're not supposed to get smaller as a channel. You're supposed to have your channel die because your subscribers stop watching your content, but you're not supposed to literally get smaller as a channel. So, but obviously that's not what happened here. And I just shed 150, Republican supporters, and that's great. I don't care at all. Obviously that's, making Breaking Bad videos, you appeal to, and Better Call Saul, you appeal to a wide swath of people. I still get comments of people who watch the first 2 hours of my Breaking Bad video before really understanding that I'm like critical of like ways that masculinity can be abused and expressed. And I love that, that they have to wait to understand my politics. But yeah, so I mean, losing 150 subscribers, not a big deal at all. And good riddance. And yeah, it's more motivating to keep making videos because now I'm just like in it again. And I feel kind of more like I can just go for it and I can just say whatever I want. So we'll see how that goes. Funny enough, I kind of got a kick out of this, that the views on the video, and it says only lost 50 from the video, which I guess means that I lost 100 of people who just saw the video, didn't even watch it, or watched it and then clicked back to the channel and then unsubscribed. I'm not really sure exactly, but what I love about this is that the video is actually average for my views. Because the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul stuff is only 9 of my like 75 videos. So if you do like, I guess this is the median, or even maybe it's the average or the mean, but because the vast majority of my videos don't get hundreds of thousands of views, this video actually is average if you take it on my, so people would look at it and go, oh, like oh my gosh, like what a flop, which obviously I was not releasing this to get views. It's not monetized. It's obviously not going to get views. But it's more like a channel update if anything. But I do get a kick out of that technically it actually got an average number of views. So I should actually be proud of that. Okay. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about that. I mean, hopefully I'll keep working on stuff. And it did just inspire me to get my voice out there more and make a monetized video. You know what I mean? Also that I can like make money off of. So, and that people will actually watch. So, but regarding the election, I mean, I don't know what to say, y'all. It's just like realistically, I mean, it's just going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. And if I'm being totally honest, it's tempting to just say I want to curl up in a ball for 4 years. I mean, realistically, we're just going to, just like from 2016 to 2020, we're going to live our lives. I mean, from 2016 to 2020, I got licensed as a therapist. I moved like forward in my life. I, worked on a lot of art. I got more involved in politics. I got more aware of how the country works. A lot more aware. and that's valuable. I mean, I just think there's a lot of good that we need to find within this, even though the executive branch of the federal government is going to be actively rolling any progress backwards. It really is. And we're going to have to rely on broken institutions to try to keep the guardrails on. And as much as we're relying on that, we have to obviously just like do what we can in our lives to survive and support loved ones and friends and family and people. And we're going to work and we're going to pray a little bit that things get better, and that maybe this wakes people up to the bankrupt sort of plans of the Democrats. I'm glad if Trump had to win, I'm glad that he won the popular vote so people can at least not lie to themselves about where the country stands. I will say, because I haven't said this, and I didn't say this in my video about it because I just was sort of processing it from a slightly different perspective, but I was shocked. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious in my expression on the video, but I was shocked. So I genuinely just like, I didn't expect it. I mean, I didn't expect his supporters to come out in such huge numbers. Thinking about it as soon as it happened, it was like, wow, yeah, that does make sense, actually. I felt the same way as in 2016, because right after it happened, I was like, yeah, wow, now that you mention it, Harris was a terrible candidate that no one liked, actually. Now that you mention it, no one liked her. And that's a problem. Okay, some people liked her, but the problem that she actually didn't appeal to that many people. When she started losing like Muslim support, like in like Michigan, Trump got some Muslim endorsement. I was like, what? I didn't look into it, so it could have been like a fringe thing, but it seemed like he got like a major Muslim endorsement in Michigan. It's like, dude, how do you lose the Muslim endorsement to the Muslim ban guy? What? So, but I don't know if this is going to come up later, because in the desks we're obviously focused on streamlining the desks section. But I'm back to reading a little bit more, and I'm reading a book about Georgia O'Keeffe and Alfred Stieglitz and Paul Strand and Rebecca Salisbury. And most of it has been so far about Georgia O'Keeffe and Alfred Stieglitz and their relationship. Alfred Stieglitz was an extremely successful photographer and gallerist in the early 1900s, like literally at the beginning of the 1900s. And he was a very famous photographer and writer on photography. And Georgia O'Keeffe was like they met in 1916, and she was like 28. And he was 52 or something, and they started a long correspondence where she went from being like almost like a protege and one of his artists that he showed in the gallery with her sort of drawings and some watercolors, and then she became sort of a muse in a sense, and a lover, and I think they get married soon enough. But anyways, it's a problematic age gap, but it seems like kind of a cool relationship in some ways. And she's a very interesting person, and very independent. But what was my point here? Oh, yeah. I mean, reading about 1916, reading about pre-World War I and moving through World War I, because I just read through the years that they go through World War I. And it was very helpful to read about. Basically, Eugene Debs was in jail and still was nominated as the socialist candidate, I believe. In was it 1916? I don't know the exact year. And then Woodrow Wilson won, right? Or no, Harding won. This is after the war? I'm sorry. I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not even going to look it up. But the point is, forget the nitty gritty details. The point is, it's it's a little bit heartening and calming to read about people going through World War One and also all the rabid Red Scare anti-communism hostilities, because it just makes me think, okay, well, that was a century ago. I mean, yeah, we have problems that are, way more pronounced now, climate change, and we can't really wait another century, obviously, for a lot of things. But it still gives me the feeling of like, people made it through that and they can make it through this. We can make it through whatever this is. It's going to be it's going to be really rough. It really is going to be rough, but we don't have a choice, and our country doesn't really deserve better on it. I mean, like, we do deserve better, but like, we have to earn it a little bit. It's not surprising, which is sort of the sentiment I started my video on. It's really, even though it was a shock, when you think about it, like, it's not surprising that this is where we're at as a country. We are, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, we're the only country that's dropped an atomic bomb, as not a test, like as an act of war. We've killed hundreds of thousands of people in the Middle East and all over the world, in not distant memory. We're a very effed up nation, and it's not surprising that this is where we're at, and it is sort of going to be a real challenge, but this is the best we could expect, is what I'm saying. And, we have to get through this. There's no choice. I will say one more thing about comments that I dislike on the video or something. And this you get from left-wing people, so it's a little bit different than whatever. People who are like, and I think was just one person did this, but I'm sure other people do this. Well, yeah, other people do this for sure. Someone who was like, we said we'd never vote for the genocide candidate, and we didn't. And basically this sentiment people express that Harris didn't deserve to be president. That's sort of the best way I could sum it up. It seems like people say Harris didn't deserve to be president. I just want to tear my hair out at this stuff because, like, look, we are talking about a situation where you choose one of two people to be the president. I wish there were many viable options that could win, but in our system, one of two people become the president. I don't give a fuck if they deserve it. If they deserve it, that's not the point. That is so childish. The point is one of them will be president, whether or not they deserve it. So don't give me that, oh, she didn't deserve it, she didn't earn my vote. Well, did he earn your vote? Because he won. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if you don't live in a swing state, vote for whoever you want. I do think it's good to vote for third party. I'm not shaming anyone for voting third party. I'm saying it's a stupid position to act. Well, I mean, actually, if you're in a swing state and you vote third party, I'm not shaming you, but I think that's very strategically stupid. I do. I think realistically it's stupid. But I think it's good to vote third party. Just there's a practicality thing that really pisses me off here, and like the blindness to the fact that like someone is going to win, and I guess it sort of goes back to, like, I talked about the Tim Pool Sam Cedar debate, their previous debate, in that famous clip where Tim's trying to explain utilitarian versus deontological thinking to Sam, and Sam goes, "I don't care." People, and I studied philosophy, so I actually knew those terms, and like I'm familiar with the concept. I'm definitely a utilitarian. As I explained in the Breaking Bad Part 2, Better Call Saul Part 2, the ethics video, it's like, I think there's some sort of melding and overlap where you have to make things based on principles too, but those principles are intertwined with harm reduction and maximizing well-being. You have to use principles when you can't, predict with certainty calculations of well-being. You have to use principles to kind of guide your thought. But what I don't like is this sort of I think deontological is probably the way to put it. Like this idea of like, she doesn't deserve my vote. I would never vote for a genocidal person. I would never vote for a war criminal. To me, that's a deontological statement and not a utilitarian statement, because from a utilitarian perspective, one of them will be president and one of them will enact their policies. So I don't think that principle is applicable, and I don't think it makes sense in this situation. Okay, well, next section or segment, I don't know. I just a little follow up. I mispronounced altricial last time. That was the word of the day.
Altricial, altricial,
I said altricial.
altricial, altricial, altricial,
I'm now from now on. I'm never gonna do a word of the day unless I can play the pronunciation because this is the fun part.
altricial, 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 altricial.
Okay, and that that was a musical interlude too. Fun thing I did. I saw a movie. It's called The Cassandra Cat. It's also called When the Cat Comes. It's from 1963. It was really good. It was really interesting. It was like a mixture of a theater sort of performance and like a surreal performance with some aspects of a plot. It's about I guess the Czech Republic. It's a Czech movie, and it takes place I guess in the 60s when they were part of the USSR, I believe. And it's like we're at a school, and it's sort of an academy, like a little private academy school. And one of the teachers there sort of stimulates the fantasy of the students and tells this story about a cat coming to town who wears sunglasses. And then when they take the sunglasses off the cat, everyone reveals their true nature, and they turn different colors based on their nature and their actions. That's how they put it, their nature and their actions. So, which I love. It's not just your nature, but it's your actions change your nature. And you see people's colors changing, literally red, purple, yellow, as they do things, but also as their natures reveal themselves. It's a very interesting movie. I definitely recommend it. And it was entertaining and kind of like quizzical. And yeah, I do wish people revealed their true natures. Just by the color. I wish you could look at someone and you'd see their color based on whether they lie or whether they're... It was interesting, the parameters of natures, like the ways that people broke down. One of them was like infidelity, I believe. People who were cheaters. And then one was jealous people, and they often went together in a couple. And then there were people who were careerists, and they were like purple or something. And then there were lovers who were red. And yeah, it was just interesting the ways they broke people down. Okay, so let's get into the next part here. We got the desk section. I know we took a break from the desk section last time because there were a lot of issues we had to work out. We've been consolidating the desks, obviously. That's part of our amends that we're making as a podcast to you, the listener and the viewer, is we're sorry about all the confusing desks, and we're going to streamline them as promised. It just took a while to kind of figure out how to do that. It's very complicated. It's not as simple as you might think. But yeah, last episode was the first time we didn't do a desk section in how long exactly? Do we have that? Do we have that? Excuse me, Donna, I'm back on. Do we have that? How long the... What do you mean you don't do that? You don't do that? Who did that? I feel like we used to have someone who would go through and tell me like how long it's been and since since something. And who was that? There was someone who would be here on the staff, and I want to say was it a guy who would be like, oh, the last time you did that was that, X number of days, and then it was, no? God, who was that? Anyways, so we're back to the desk section. First up is politics desk. Everything is politics or art, okay? And this is something, it's a debate. We saw this person debate Chuck Kirk, and now she's debating Benjamin Shapiro. And I'm just curious how it's going to go. So this is politics desk. Everything's politics or art, and this is politics. Can we play it? What's the deal here? Twitter is like not the most functional platform.
Yeah, like a jackrabbit. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Hi,
How's it
how
going?
you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, I kind of want to shift the conversation about DEI a little bit away from culture because I don't know if that's necessarily like a helpful conversation to have. And I really want to talk more about representation. So 1 in 5 Americans currently is Hispanic. This country, like it or not, is not a homogenous country. We are a very diverse country.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think that our legislators should be representative of the overall population?
I don't see a way that you can have a quote unquote representative legislature with 435 members of Congress.
I agree that it should be much larger. Apparently, we haven't added people to Congress in like 100 years, or it's a very long time. We definitely should add more people to Congress. But that's also not a great argument to start with because, I mean, you could make it more representative. It might not be perfectly representative, right? But you could make it more representative.
In a country of 340 million people, because you can divvy that up however you want. It's not by race. You could do it by sex. You could do it by gender. You could do it by sex.
You could do it by like all of the most prominent designators, basically, though.
Sexual orientation. How exactly do you decide what is quote unquote the representative group? And also, I don't believe that individuals ought to be represented based on group identity. So, for example, I'm Jewish. Jews are actually overrepresented in Congress. I don't think that we ought to decide exactly how many people in Congress are Jewish based.
Okay, that's totally not what he just said, though. Play that back.
Group. And also, I don't believe that individuals ought to be represented.
He's not making a good argument, which is why he's just going, and also, and also this, and also that. And none of them really are a good argument, but he's just saying a few things. So listen to what he adds.
I don't believe that individuals ought to be represented based on group.
He doesn't think individuals ought to be represented. Okay, we'll forgive the misspeaking. He doesn't think individuals should be represented
Identity. So for
by their identity. So he doesn't think identity is an aspect of individuals that requires representation. Just their beliefs, not their identities.
example, I'm Jewish. Jews are actually overrepresented in Congress. I don't think that we ought to decide exactly how many people in Congress are Jewish based on the Jewish population of the country. I think that's actually a pretty silly way to do representation.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, you don't need to do a one-to-one for everything.
Well, we don't have to do it systematically, but fundamentally there is an issue with the fact that we are not fully represented. Like, the entire population is not represented.
I mean,
we have
that's not
never
true.
had a black female president. I still have to pay taxes.
We've never had a
the
Jewish
whole
president. Who
concept is
cares?
no taxation without. We have had a white male president.
Right. So you could say maybe these designators, based on how many people they encompass, are more significant designators. Black, woman, those encompass a lot of people more than Jewish people. So maybe it's even more logical that there should be a president who is a black woman, because there's a lot more black women than there are Jews. Are there actually black women in the U.S., Jews in the U.S.? As of 2020, Jewish population, according to this random Google, is 7.5 million people in the U.S. Oh yeah, there's definitely more black women than that. Oh, fuck. I just clicked out of the window. Hold on. Black women in U.S. 7.5 million Jews. Oh, yeah. I mean, right, because black people are like 15, 16%. Black women are about half that. So there are like 4 times as many black women as Jews. So, I mean, it's just a little bit more of a prominent population.
We've had like 45 of them.
Whether Jews count as white or not has been sort of an object of debate for quite a while.
Obviously, Jews count as white, dude. I mean, until the white supremacists get power, I mean, everyone looks at me and they go, that's a white guy.
We do. Okay.
You do.
So, I mean, it depends according to whom, and that's a pretty recent development.
According to everyone but white supremacists. Literally.
Okay, so
Basically everyone. It's a religion.
Judaism
Do
is
you
also
not
ethnicity.
agree that you were a white man?
I mean, I think that it depends on the context in which we're discussing it.
See, Ben, I don't even think Ben would deny this. He's just such a smarmy little guy. He just can't grant things. Like, really?
So
Meaning
what
that-
are you, Ben? Are you not a white guy?
I mean, I'm a man.
Like she should have to make a more complicated point to win the debate. He's making it very easy.
Jewish ethnicity, which is sometimes grouped with white and sometimes not. I mean, that's the more accurate way to put it. But when
No, I mean, sure. I guess. I don't. It's not really the point we're getting
What
on.
else would
talking
you be
about-
grouped with?
with Jews, who are which is an
But it's-
ethnicity. I mean,
So
yeah.
you're not white at all.
I mean, again, it depends who's doing the grouping and how. I've seen Jews grouped with white and Jews grouped with not white. And
Well, what do you think? Right? Because, yeah, you can draw a distinction. The point is having, like, let's say, like, Bernie Sanders. For Bernie Sanders to be the president, it would be a lot more notable that he's a socialist-leaning person rather than Jewish. I say this as a Jewish person, so I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
are we just pretending that doesn't exist? That's a reality. However, as far as your generalized point, which is that we are supposed to identify people by group identity, that if we don't have a black female president, somehow black females have not been represented. So Barack Obama was in no way representative of black females because he's not a female.
No,
he's
he
black.
was. He was representative,
So
but
he was
that's
half
the point.
representative. How do you do the math on this? And why?
You shouldn't do the math on it completely statistically, but the fact
You shouldn't
is
do the math on it at all. You should
clearly
treat people as individuals.
underrepresented.
You should treat people as individuals.
Well, if you don't even want Kamala Harris to attempt to create
I mean, his argument is not. It's very disingenuous because it's like, again, in theory, everyone is an individual, but also people represent interests of individuals when they're in power.
DEI initiatives in
I mean, we have Christian fundamentalists representing Christians in Congress and the government at massive numbers.
office, then there isn't even going to be a conversation about it.
I mean, I don't think there ought to be a conversation about why we ought to be represented by race.
Okay, he just did it again. He just said represented again.
There ought to be a conversation about why we ought to be represented
Are you kidding, Ben? Represented? Twice in a conversation? Represented?
by race or by sex. I think that we are each individual people with individual ideas. And if that person represents my ideas, I don't care what sex, race, or sexual orientation they are.
Right, but they are more likely to represent your ideas when you have identity commonalities. Not definitively, but they are more likely.
I mean, to an extent, yes.
No,
but
entirely.
there is an issue with the lack of empathy in office. We need to be able to empathize and legislate for the people that are living in this country.
Well, also, you could say, well, one of the biggest populations of the United States is renters, and there are very few renters. And that's not about your identity, that's about a behavior you're engaging in, but it still is a marker. Like, this whole thing of what constitutes an identity and what doesn't is, I think, an obfuscation and a smokescreen. Really, the question is how many people are being represented. I did it! Oh, I did it. It is kind of hard. It does. You do get tripped up. I represented it. Fuck, I did it.
I was not
Do you
aware.
not believe that?
I was not aware that empathy is relegated to particular race solidarity.
Ben, are you stupid? Her argument was that it's easier for people to have empathy with people that they share an identity with. I do think there's a massive lack of empathy, and so the idea being there's a little bit more ease of people having empathy with people they have identity markers in, not.
The people that are living in this country.
I was not
Do you
aware.
not believe that?
I was not aware that empathy is relegated to particular race solidarity.
Yeah, that expression is what I'm thinking. Ben, that was like a willful misunderstanding, dude.
No, but I mean, it's easier to be empathetic towards people whose experiences you can fundamentally understand
Yeah.
based on your identity. Like, do you not
Like, a black person understands what it means to be racially profiled a lot more than a white Jewish person.
believe that people have an inherent bias
So first of all, I'm
based
not
on
sure.
identity?
I mean, we can start with the empathy itself. I'm not sure that empathy is always the best basis for actual public policy,
No, it is actually.
because when you have group solidarity and empathy based on group solidarity, you're going to attempt to actually benefit the group with whom you have solidarity. So that
So he's literally saying empathy is not a good basis because it will motivate you to support those people.
actually cuts against
But
generalized
that's like a
public
fundamental
policy.
It cuts against generalized public policy to have empathy with particular groups.
thing that just exists, which is
Oh my god. And then
why we need representation in government.
why do they stop them if they have more time? Okay, I don't care. Okay, so that was politics desk. And obviously I forgot to say this, but we already looked. No, I did say this. We looked at her debating. Okay. Next up, we have Art Desk. Art Desk. We got Dwayne Wade defends look of new statue amid hail of jokes. This is Art Desk. Dwayne Wade's new statue celebrates a moment where he won a game with his offense. The feedback to the statue had him playing defense. I like that. Good job, Associated Press. It's a funny first name. Wade explained the statue's look and process of creating it. The statue with a face that, to put it mildly, isn't a perfect depiction of Wade was immediately a talking point. Yeah, it's definitely not a perfect depiction of Wade, but it's an abstract representational perspective. He said, if I wanted it to look like me, I'd just stand outside the arena and y'all can take photos. I don't need it to look like me. It's an artistic version of a moment that happened that we're trying to cement. Is it cement? Yeah, see, like, I mean, he definitely has very different features. Like, this guy looks like someone. I feel like that does look like someone that I've seen before, but it doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. He's cool though. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone use y'all opinions. Please talk more about us. Talk more about a statue. Come on down to see it. Take some photos. Send some memes. We don't care. Yeah, he's a cool guy. And what did the sculptor say? Sculptors said it took about 800 hours of work to make the statue, and Wade was directly involved with the process. Most people saw it for the first time Sunday. They're gonna have to fix the statue if they didn't already. I mean, he's defending it, but did they get a quote from the sculptor? No. The sculptor's like, Wade's like, it's not meant to look like me, and the sculptor's like, it was meant to look like him, actually. Next up, we got our politics desk. This is not art desk. This is politics desk. Everything is just one thing, and this is politics, not art. Even though it's the School of Art Institute in Chicago, we're gonna ignore that. It's a politics desk. This is about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Students at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago staged a class walkout on Thursday in protest of the school's ties to Chicago billionaires who own a large share of General Dynamics, one of the biggest defense contractors in the U.S. that supplies arms to the Israeli military that is engaging in a genocidal murder of tens of thousands of Palestinian people and stealing their land continuously. The Crown family, who according to Forbes own 10% of General Dynamics, have donated millions of dollars to the Art Institute to try to launder their name. The student walkout on Thursday was held to protest their complicity in the genocide of Palestinians. And they want this family to stop influencing the Art Institute if they're going to be funding genocide. 68 protesters in May were arrested at the Art Institute of Chicago amid nationwide police crackdowns on student encampments. Not a very free country. Protesters had set up an encampment in the museum's North Garden and renamed the area Hind's Garden in honor of Hind Rajab, a 6-year-old Palestinian girl. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the first name wrong. Hind, who was reportedly killed by Israeli forces in Gaza, along with 6 members of her family and 2 paramedics trying to save her. Charges against protesters were later dropped. The walkout did not violate the student handbook because it took place off campus. Oh, okay. So, yeah. Keep protesting. We gotta keep protesting. Okay, next one. This is let's say art desk. It's like art, right? You know, it's not. I know we used to have media and blah blah blah, but this is too complicated. Let's just say art desk. Ratings, or you give ratings to art. The Dodgers winning the World Series. Averaged 18.6 million viewers on Fox, or total. Fox Deportes and streaming. Most watched game in the Fall Classic since Game 7. Most watched World Series games, after a record low 2023. Yeah, I mean, last year was the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. People were like, what? Who? This year it's the Yankees-Dodgers. The ratings is the percentage of television households tune in. Okay, that's a little bit too technical. And lastly, we have politics desk. I don't even want to read this shit. I don't even care, man. This guy's like full of it. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's stimulating irrationality in the populace. He doesn't believe any of it, and he knows what he's doing. I'm going to thank the patrons for once because, or not for once, but I just, I didn't do it in a couple times, and I want to thank the patrons and the members. So before we get out of here, and should I do the mailbag first? I'm going to forget if I don't do it right now, so let's do the mailbag. You can write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. Verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. And no one wrote in, so we're good on that front. Okay. So let's start with the YouTube members. Thank you to, how do we do this? Whatever. I'll do it by total time as a member. Thank you to Jaden. Thank you to Simply Snaps, 39% Weird, Pit Inhabitant, Hollow Moon, Trusty Ghost, Jifa, Eva, Sadie, and Jasmine. Thank you so much, y'all. And patrons, thank you so much to, I don't have it pulled up yet. Hold on. Thank you to, I'll do it by lifetime pledge. Wow, that person's still giving me money? My God. Thank you, user. Wait, hold on. Are these active people? Yeah, okay. Thank you, user, MJ, Miles, Brent, Kyle, Madeline, Rabid Dog, Irene, Verbal Gerbil, Ryan, Linguist Sam, Anastasio, Thulusaurus Rex, Isaiah, Stephanie, Gunther, Luca, Scott, Jack, Ashley, Redgrove, John, Molly, Mr. Moxie, Ian, Hugh, Ga45er Swit, Jen, Platinum Sarge, Russ, Donovan, Miles, Elemancy, King, Margot, Tom, TV Ghost, Noah, Scott, Matt, MK, Oliver, Caleb, Ibnomad, Ruben, HP, Miranda X, Emily, Jesse, MT, and Vlad. So thank you, everyone, for supporting my work, and please feel free to continue doing that if you have money. I do appreciate it. Okay, so that's it for today, and hope you enjoyed listening, and I'll see you next time, I guess. Yeah, no, I'll see you next time. Okay. Bye.
This is a podcast or something like that.